Welcome back, everyone. We are now about to begin our deep dive into databases. Now, one important thing I want to mention about databases is that inside of system design, databases contribute to a large majority of what you need to think about, because a lot of what we work about, as we've learned about throughout this course, is data. We learn about how to manipulate data. We need to think about the shape of the data, how to store the data, how to make sure the data is reliable, it comes out on time, we store it effectively. All of the things related to databases is an incredibly crucial decision-making step during the system design process. When you're architecting your system, a lot of what you're thinking about is how the data is going to flow through your architecture and flow through the system. And databases is a very critical juncture of how all that comes together. Now, luckily for us, my fantastic coworkers, Andre and Mo, have already created an extensive database and SQL course for you. So let's take a quick look at it and understand what parts of it are really crucial for our needs with system design. So here we are inside Mo and Andre's course, the Complete SQL and Databases Bootcamp. I highly recommend you go through this entire course. Databases, and specifically SQL, is a very large portion of the actual system design process. Thinking about how to work with data, where it's stored, how it's stored, and how quickly you can access that data is an incredibly crucial piece of system design, as we've already mentioned earlier in our system design section. If you are on a bit of a time crunch, or if you've already gone through this course, I still suggest you go through the whole thing, but there are key portions of this that I want to highlight that are important as far as the context of our system design course is going so far. I highly suggest you go through the history and story of data. As I mentioned, much of what we do inside of our architecture is work with data and figure out how it flows through our architecture. So this we'll talk about from a high level how that works when it comes to a database. We also suggest you highly go through databases and SQL fundamentals. SQL is a very crucial type of database. It's a relational database. And a lot of our data that we're storing needs to be consistent, reliably stored, and stable. And SQL is the most stable format in order to store data. So we need to understand how SQL works and why we need it when it comes to that type of data, especially when we want to store that kind of data, why we choose SQL. It's very crucial you can recognize when designing a system whether or not you need a relational database. And then when you have that, how you're going to design your data so that it fits into that style of a relational database in the first place. It is a very crucial portion of what you do, and this is covered extensively throughout this course, but specifically it's highlighted in this section. So after you go through this section, I would suggest you go through database design. Now, database design is, again, a high-level look at how databases are structured. And it's a very good understanding of how these databases work to give you a deeper understanding of choosing a database. And this is a very crucial portion in system design. You might not work as much on the low-level implementation, but what you're going to do is you're definitely going to have to decide on what database and why. And this course right here in this section is going to cover this specific topic. So it's very important you go through this. You also should go through database landscape, performance, and security. Now, these topics on scalability, sharding, replication, backups is very crucial at a high level in order for you to integrate this into your understanding of databases as the system design portion. The reason for this is because a lot of these topics of scalability and sharding, replication, backups increases the redundancy, but specifically the reliability of our system. Remember, databases can also be a single point of failure. All of our data comes in and out of our database. So if this ever goes down, then our entire system might just not work altogether. So as a result, it's very important we make sure that it's secure, it's redundant, it's properly scaled out for levels of performance and reliability, and this all gets covered inside of this section. Not to mention, throughout this course as well, Andre and Mo both talk about system design in relation to databases because that's how crucial this topic is when it comes to system design altogether. So I highly suggest you go through this course altogether. It is a bit of a sidetrack because it's a long and extensive course, But again, when it comes to databases and when it comes to experience, you must have it. There is no way around it. So I highly, highly suggest you go through this entire course. Now, once you've gone through this course or you've gone through these key sections I've mentioned, come back to our system design course and we'll continue talking about some of the other important topics from a high level as it comes to storage and databases in system design. Another thing I want to mention about this course as well is that they do cover even more topics related to data engineering, and Redis. Redis is a flavor of database, and we use it extensively in the caching layer as we saw earlier. So this section is really great to give you a deeper understanding of how the Redis database works and how to use it. So please go through this section as well because it's crucial to the caching portion of our web architecture. Once you've done this course, you will have a good understanding of databases, and then from there, we'll circle back into the system design course and cover some additional topics that you may need to understand when it comes to this layer. So please, and I sound like a broken record at this point, go through this course. It is crucial that you have a rock solid understanding of databases, especially SQL databases, but also non-relational databases as well, which get covered in this course. Once you've done that, come back and let's continue. I'll see you in the next video after you've gone through this course.